Let's talk to Pavel Felgenhauer, who's a Russian defense analyst and columnist for the independent Russian newspaper Novaya Gazeta. Pavel, welcome back to the program. For those who don't know the region and its history, just explain to us, first of all, the strategic importance of Kherson for both Ukraine and Russia.
Kherson is an important Black Sea port, and it's the biggest city Russia has right now under control on the right bank of the Dnieper, the big river that divides Ukraine into two halves. In the beginning of the campaign, Russian forces were very successful. They, advancing from Crimea, crossed the Dnieper River in the near Kherson, near Kakhovka, and captured a big depot or kind of platform there on the right bank, and are still holding it. And there has been heavy fighting. The Russian advances there have been stopped. And in general, the Russian advance that began 6 months ago is now tittered out. And now Ukraine is trying to take over the initiative, the overall initiative. There's been this offensive announced in the Kherson region. They hope to take it back and push the Russians back. But there are also reports from Russian sources of attempted Ukrainian advances in the Donbass, in the Bakhmut area. I believe right now the Ukrainians are going to probe the Russian defense line, seeking out soft, weak spots in different places.
As you say, Ukrainian forces have announced this counteroffensive, it must be said, without the element of surprise. I wonder, how challenging is this task? They've been largely defensive until now, haven't they?
Well, taking over the initiative is never a cheap thing, but you can't win without the initiative. I believe that they may be preparing maybe some offensive, not only in Kherson, but in other parts of the front line, and Kherson could be, to some extent, a diversion, but anyway, they don't have that much time. Autumn is coming, and with it, autumn rains, and it's going to turn the terrain into a sea of mud, and it will slow down everyone, though until winter when the snow comes, and then it's going to be frozen, the ground, and again it's going to be usable for maneuverable warfare. So there's about a month, maybe less, left of good enough weather to have a serious offensive. And Ukrainians maybe will try to do that. How successful they'll be, no one knows.
While there is obviously no discussion that we know of a ceasefire, at least in public, on the horizon, what is your expectation and your outlook for the rest of this conflict?
Well, right now, both sides are still so far apart from each other. There's no negotiations going on, and apparently none are planned, and both sides apparently agree that it's going to be decided basically on the battlefield. Russia has its own plans. It has its plans to have referendums in some of in Kherson and Zaporozhye and unite those territories with Russia, and then it will change the situation internally in Russia. At least the Kremlin will say that this is already Russian land. We should defend it with all we have. And maybe somewhere in the winter, Russia could mobilize more forces for a more vigorous attack. Ukraine is also preparing for it's a long war. It's going to be a long and bloody war, that's clear. And at least it's going to go into next spring, maybe next summer even. And both sides are bracing for that.
Pavel Felgenhauer in Moscow. The time is against us. Thank you so much for joining us. Pavel Felgenhauer in Moscow.